It's already late. Where's Arjun?
He's looking for universities, right? Maybe he's held up there.
You look so tense. By the way, did you get to choose the university?
No, I'm unable to find a university that meets my requirements.
Whoa. Meet your requirements? What exactly are you looking for?
I'm looking for a place that gives me an opportunity to grow, to excel, to invent, and to innovate. I want to be a part of an institution that paves my way to discover myself and to witness the world moving forward in technology. I want to go to a place that sets a futuristic pattern of education filled with ideas and radical performances. Basically, I want to live my dream.
Dayanand Sagar University. Live the dream.
So we good to go live?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Sure, sir. Hi and good evening, all of you. A warm welcome to you from Dayanand Sagar University, Bangalore. We are here once again in front of you with our webinar series. It's also called as the Campus Info Sessions. Prima facie to give students a deep understanding of the subject of interest for which they have shown interest. And on behalf of the university, we have today a good list of distinguished speakers. And I'm so thankful to them. And on a Friday evening, especially between 7 to 8:30 p.m., we have their time available today, which shows the importance of how we want to take forward this webinar series, where there's a lot of deep insight information given to students. Today, we are here to talk about this particular topic. We have been getting a lot of requests from students to talk about what could be the right way, the right decision, the smart choice to choose a school of law. How do we today decide what is a good school of law for us today? Everybody talks about so many things, but do they have the right kind of ingredients? Do they talk about technology-based education where, because today when the student is going to look at careers in law, it's only after 5 years is that he's going to pass out. By the time he passes out after 5 years, what is going to be relevant from the industry point of view? People talk about programs, but is there an interdisciplinary availability available for the students? Is there a wide array of career opportunities available to students? Is there anything called as an industry exposure, internships? Are we going to be industry ready the moment we pass out from the programs? Is there anything available in terms of placements? Are top law schools associated with us? Do you have industry panel associated with us? There are so many questions that come in from the students. So here we are today, here to address this through this open house. And let me take the opportunity of introducing our distinguished speakers for today. Before I introduce the speakers, I would like to give a warm welcome, especially to Mr. Y. Sajivan. He's a resident of Port Blair. and the president of the Private School Association at Andaman and Nicobar. The exclusive webinar has been arranged on the request during his visit to Bangalore last month, where he expressed the concerns of having career guidance sessions from leading universities for aspirants. He's born and brought up in the Andaman Islands and has been working under the Education Department for the last 30 years and presently heading as the president of the Andaman and Nicobar Teachers Association, which has over 2,500 teachers serving across the islands. The objective of ANTA, which is the Andaman Nicobar Teachers Association, is to improve the quality of education in the islands. And so it is the obligation of his community to make school education meaningful by guiding the students into the future. I would like to thank Mr. Y. Sajivan for this opportunity to Dayanand Sagar University for arranging this particular webinar today. Thank you so much. I hereby would like to introduce our speakers for today. I start with speaker number 1, Dr. K.N.B. Murthy sir. Sir is the Professor for Computer Science Engineering and the Vice Chancellor at Dayanand Sagar University, Bangalore. Sir has also been the former Vice Chancellor at PES University, Bangalore. Sir holds a bachelor's degree in electrical power engineering and a master's degree in electrical engineering from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and a PhD in computer science and engineering from Indian Institute of Technology, Madras. Sir has worked as a research specialist in parallel computing at New Mexico State University, US. Sir is currently a member of the Karnataka State Higher Education Council and the Academic Senate member of IIIT Dharwad. Sir, a warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Shinde.
We also are highly obliged to have an industry speaker with us today, Mr. Shantu Matapati. He is a practicing advocate with the Karnataka State Bar Council, former Chief General Counsel for Nandi Infrastructure Development Limited. He did his bachelor's degree in law from Karnataka University, Dharwad, and also holds a diploma in Russian language from Karnataka University, Dharwad. He's also served as the additional government advocate of the Honorable High Court of Karnataka, Bangalore. Sir, a warm welcome to you. We are also blessed with our mentor, somebody who's always behind us and keeps guiding us in the way to move forward. I'd like to introduce Professor Dr. Nandimat Om Prakash V. Sir is the Professor of Law at National Law School of India University, Bangalore. He's trained in commercial law for more than 25 years with legal expertise in health, law, defense, finance sector regulations, and corporate law. A former registrar at the National Law School of India University and founding HAL DPSU chairperson, the chair professor and the founding chair professor for Think Tank on Health. Is the author of the Environmental Decision Making in India and EIA Model, OUP in 2019, and the Health Law and Ethics is a critical reflection from Thomson Reuters in 2022. A warm welcome to you, sir. I would now like to welcome and invite our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. K.N.B. Murthy sir, to express his views. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Shinde. Good evening, my co-panelists, Professor Nandimat, Mr. Sajeevan, and Sri Shantu Matapati, and also the other members of the admission team of Dayanand Sagar University. Good evening to each one of you. Thanks for joining us on a Friday evening to collect some information about law programs. I'm extremely happy to inform you that Dayanand Sagar University has been organizing campus info sessions, both in virtual mode and the physical mode, to provide information to the aspirants before they make a final choice. These webinars are different from all the other webinars you might have listened to from other institutions. The idea of this webinar is to provide complete information about the possibilities of the career opportunities, the kind of things that are going to happen in the future, so that the students are fully aware before joining a program study. The response from the public has been extremely good for all the campus info sessions of Daniel Sagar University. Let me tell you briefly about few points that I have in mind, and the experts would tell you more about the kind of thing that you can expect in the law program in the years to come. Let me make few points for you to take note and decide which program of study. Even in law program also, there are multiple choices. Which university do that? And what is the kind of preparation or mindset change required before we get in there? The first point I would like to bring to your kind attention that legal profession is one of the prestigious professions considered all over the globe, not only in each country, in the entire world. It's considered most prestigious and also one of the respected professions. Second, the opportunities for this law program or the future lawyers are abundant for many reasons. Third, the opportunities are not going to limited to only one domain which used to be there earlier. There are a lot more opportunities coming up in a lot more domains and areas which we had not even imagined in the earlier kind of things. All these things have happened for one simple reason, that the technology has entered into the everyone's of life. Everyone's of life, there's some role or the other of the technology. This technology has changed the entire landscape of the jobs that are going to be there. Whatever the jobs that we see today, they are going to be transformed and reappear in new form, in multiple numbers. That's one change that you can really expect. The other thing that you also need to understand is that the kind of skills that we were thinking earlier will be much different in the future. There are several new skills that are required compared to the skills which we thought are enough. Earlier, skills in one domain would have been sufficient. Now, skills in multiple domains are becoming important, mainly because every task in the future will be multidisciplinary, including the profession of law. Now, what are those skills? These skills are identified to be, there are plenty, a big list is there, out of which the following seem to be very, very important. One, analytical thinking and innovation becomes one of the key skills. What is analytical thinking? We need to logically think in a different way. There must be some kind of connection that we are going to do for everything that is going to be done. Innovation, to ensure that there will be some kind of impact of whatever is going to be done. Second, the active learning and the learning strategies, how to change, is the second important skill. Third, the complex problem solving. Given a problem, how exactly is being analyzed and solved becomes very, very important. Then critical thinking and analysis. When an issue comes up, how critically we think over, how critically we analyze is going to be important in the future. Creativity, then originality, and the initiatives becomes very, very important. Meaning, everything that's going to come up, we need to take that proactive measure to understand the problem and solve the problem. Then the leadership and social intelligence becomes important. What is the leadership? We need to talk to people, educate them, ensure that they understand the things quite well and understand it correctly. Then social intelligence, basically how best you can connect with the people, how deep and best you can connect with the people. And most importantly, the future working will be all over the globe. It's not restricted to a particular place or a state or a country. It could be across countries where people are expected to work in multiple countries at the same time. That's a possibility in the future. Then technology use, monitoring, and control becomes important. That's where the law is going to come into play, where some frameworks, legal frameworks, have to be designed to ensure that these legal frameworks are properly utilized. They are not used for any other purpose. Then every future instances have to be looked at, have to be imagined and formulated. The legal frameworks have to be formulated. Therefore, the things are going to be much more different from what we are seeing. Then resilience, stress balance, and flexibility becomes another skill which is required for the future, because there's going to be a lot of stress in everything that we're going to do in the future. Therefore, we also need to learn the art of managing stress. Then reasoning, ideation, problem solving becomes another important skill of the future. Then what are the new sectors which are going to come in? The healthcare, which was there earlier, has gone through tremendous change. There will be a lot of devices, lot of policies, lot of things that are going to happen in the healthcare sector in the form of prevention. Earlier, there used to be disease management or health management. Now it's going to be the disease prevention becomes one of the key things. Therefore, the rules and regulations are formulated. Then IPR and startups. There will be a lot of the IPR is going to be generated. How do we manage that? Then digital currency, the digital transactions become an order of the day because of the technology. Therefore, it's extremely important for the legal frameworks to be formed. Therefore, the kind of things that are going to happen in the future is far different from what we could ever imagine. Therefore, the students who aspire to do law must understand that you need to make an assessment of your passion, where you need to be passionate of what you're going to do. Then you must be ready to learn anything and everything so that you are stand to benefit to work in any environment. And cross-cultural competency becomes important, where you need to learn a language apart from the local language. If you can learn the other languages, foreign languages, it will be really helpful because you are expected to work in multiple domains. Then is also important for the mathematical thinking becomes an important component in the future, which was not so in the earlier kind of things. It's also been indicated by an expert that the power of mathematical thinking, how not to be wrong, is going to be the future requirement. Therefore, hence, I would request all of you to listen to the experts, understand what is there in the law program, how to go about it, because there are two experts. One expert is going to talk about his experience on the ground. Other expert is an academician, also practicing, doing a lot of consulting, legal consultancy. He would tell you what exactly it is. Therefore, at the end of this particular campus info session, I'm sure you have the full information to take an informed choice. And as far as Dynasty University is concerned, it's a university with a difference. It's a university which thinks ahead of time, trying to bring in the components which I mentioned, that critical thinking component, etc., which I mentioned. All those things are going to be part of the pedagogy itself, part of our curriculum itself. Thereby, you have been exposed to everything that's required for the future. In other words, by the time you graduate, you are almost ready to take up any job that's going to come up in the future, which we normally call as future of work. With these few opening remarks, I thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this campus imposition. Once again, all the best to the students and parents who have assembled in this campus imposition. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. This is for all the participants. We have a Q&A box. And while the program is going on, if you have any queries, you could definitely type in into those Q&A box and we will start addressing to those questions that you have with you. I would now like to invite Mr. Shantu Matapati to please express his views on this particular topic. Over to you, sir.
Hi, good evening to all, everyone. I'm Shantu Matapati, a practicing advocate. Today, I'm feeling glad to join the team of this glorious university. And all my dear students, it is my honor to address something about the legal profession. It's better to start with my journey in this noble profession. My parents, especially my mother, is a teacher in government school. So I was also studied in ordinary government school under guidance of great teachers. Thereafter, I have completed a bachelor degree in arts, and in those days, I felt that I must do something for the society, or in other word, I thought I need to serve for the society. In this connection, I chosen the legal profession, and in the year 2001, I have completed my law degree in KLE Society's GK Law College, Hubli, Karnataka University Law College. Thereafter, I started my legal practice as a junior under the guidance of my great senior advocate, Mr. Umesh Malimar. And thereafter, I joined the office of Srimati S. Sujata, the Honorable Judge of High Court of Karnataka. Now, utilizing the knowledge gained from the seniors, now I have established my office in Bangalore. In my professional, I used to appear in all benches, that is Bangalore, Dharwad, Kalburgi of Karnataka High Court, and also appeared before Honorable Supreme Court of India. So what I mean to say that in this university also you have many wonderful teachers. In their guidance, you have tried to learn more as you possible. In this connection, I would like to say one proverb: teachers can open the door, but you must enter yourself. So if you once adopt yourself for the golden principles of our profession, you are the only person who can join the fruits and cream of the profession, which outcome from your own efforts and the lessons taught by your teachers. So I would like to say that learn. The learning process is still end. Nobody is perfect in this profession, but my desire for you all that please try to learn beyond your capability and be perfect in professional life and feel the proudness of our legal profession. And in this stage, I should not forget Mr. Nandimat sir, who is also my teacher, professor, and mentor, who taught me a lot, and under his guidance, I achieved the goals. I proudly say that he's my guru. So before I conclude, I thank you all providing me an opportunity to share my views about the legal profession. Thank you, and all thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I would now like to request Professor Nandimat sir to please express his views and give some thoughts to the students which they could look at in terms of deciding their careers to take up in the profession of law. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Shindeji. Please confirm that I'm audible to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Because there is some amount of bandwidth issue I am facing today. Maybe it is raining quite heavily here. So if at all, I go slightly off the track, please remind me. So, my dear friends, who are the focal point of today's webinar, we are predominantly to answer two simple questions. They may appear very simple, but they are sort of very, very, very critical questions to be answered from your point of view. The first one, according to me, should I join a law profession? When I have other professions also, or when I have multiple opportunities before me, should I try to choose law, or why should I choose law as a profession? And the second question, my dear friends, is to really ask yourself, if I have decided that I am going to be a lawyer, or if I have decided that I am going to pursue law, how do I choose a good law school? That is what Dr. Murthy was telling you so, eloquently, that you have to make an informed choice before you end up in a law school. Well, I would like to start slightly differently from, my predecessors. This is only to sort of give you a different viewpoint before you can decide for yourself. Among these two questions, according to me, the easiest one is the first one. That is whether I should become a lawyer. Well, you must have really studied or read that our entire freedom struggle, or what we call as freedom movement, is led by eminent lawyers of the country during that time. And if you really look around, not here just alone, many countries, lawyers have played a predominant role in shaping their country. Even now, if you really look at many of our political leaders, both at the central level and at the state level, predominant, of them are lawyers. So it is not just inside the courtroom, lawyers have, shown their prominence. Even everywhere else in public life, the lawyers have, left their traces. The second one, I would not really take a lot of time here because this is a very, very, very promising kind of, let us say, choice today. I was talking to Dr. Kasturi Rangan, whom you must have really heard. He was the chairman of National Education, Commission. He was talking to me because he is a technocrat. He was very passionately talking to me about the, role of technology, which already Dr. Murthy has explained it to you very, very, very beautifully. He was telling me, because of AI, because of IoT, because of, the kind of technological revolution we are noticing, most of the repetitive jobs, what professionals are today doing, are going to be taken over by machines. And many of the jobs are going to be completely redefined. Whatever jobs you see today are not going to be in existence. Whatever jobs you are going to see in tomorrow, they are entirely different than what you perceive it today. But very interestingly, I would probably talk about that a little more when I go further. But he made one point very, very categorically. Out of all the professions, it is legal profession which would probably take another 50 years before lawyers lose prominence. Because he is of the view, Dr. Kasturi Ranganji was of the view, that law profession cannot so easily be ingested by your so-called machines or artificial intelligence. Because every step a lawyer is expected to think critically. Every step the lawyer is supposed to, think differently. And because of that kind of analytical skills, what lawyering requires, it is probably 50 years down the line, technology could intervene. So that there cannot be better testimony than that, is it not? So that means you are going to be much, much, much more relevant in the days to come, where other professions are slowly going to lose its sheen. For a minute, don't think that I am actually slighting other professions or saying that they will become completely redundant. No, that is not my point. But in comparison to them, we will have greater relevance even in the wake of technological revolution. That's the point I'm trying to stress, my friends. But having said that, let me come back, make a re-entry or come back to the same element of technology and try to tell you how definitely technology is going to play a role. I will tell you by taking very simple examples. And then I would be very happy to answer any of your questions. And this is where I have sort of given you kind of an idea as to why I say if you are choosing to become a lawyer or if you are choosing legal path or legal career as your career choice, you cannot go wrong. Having answered or having led you in that path, now how do you choose a good law school? Like my student, of course, I taught him only for a very brief period of time. After that, I moved to National Law School of India University. So I always say, my friend, Mr. Shantu, is actually technically my student. When I was a student myself, I'm not even talking about when he was my student, when I myself was a student, every professor whom I have heard used to say, lawyers should have very important tools. That they used to talk about two tools. One is they used to say a lawyer should have a tool which is basically his tongue or his language skills, because he is supposed to impress the judge, is it not? He is supposed to argue his case. He is supposed to impress in the court of law. And for that, he needs to have gift of gab. That means he should have good control and command over the language. And the second one, they used to say, the lawyer should have analytical skills. Because whether you take Ram Jethmalani, who is considered to be the best criminal lawyer of India, right? He is a veteran lawyer. And you take me, or for that matter, any next door lawyer whom you should be knowing. Both of them use the same provision of law. They interpret the same provision of law whenever they practice before the court. It's the same Indian Penal Code. But how one lawyer like Ram Jethmalani could be so successful and another lawyer, who is next door, etc., cannot be so successful like Ram Jethmalani. This is where the analytical skills, my dear friends, your ability to connect dots, your ability to think outside of the box, your ability to think creatively becomes an asset to you. This is what I have grown up listening to my elders as the best assets the lawyer can possess. But the time has changed now. Since last 25 years, this is the 26th year I am teaching in so-called number one law school. Right? We are considered to be number one law school undisputedly. But let me tell you, my dear friends, what I have realized is these two tools, which were conventionally expected to be the tools or toolkit of a lawyer, are insufficient today. That is where technology becomes very important. Although technology is going to be slow, it is another 50 years as I have explained, but it has really started playing its role. Today, a successful lawyer is one who has the capability and capacity of using technology in conducting his professional affairs. Be it with regard to preparing his brief, be it with regard to doing his research, be it with regard to collecting intel and data, and then presenting it to the court of law. I will just give you an example. The American, what you call as a software firm today claims a particular software tool which says it's a toolkit. It's a software product they have prepared. And you know what is the uniqueness of that software product? They say if you actually feed about 100 pages or 200 pages into that particular, product or technological product, software, if you feed 200 pages, it will give you an accurate synopsis of about 200 words or maximum 500 words. See, the speed with which lawyer is going to work, how it is going to enhance manifold. Suppose if I have a brief, you must have heard, I'm sure you must be reading a lot of newspapers. There you come across some of the reported cases where they say the charge sheet itself runs into 25,000 pages. 12,000 pages of charge sheet is submitted by the investigating agency. A lawyer to defend or lawyer to conduct his case has to flip through all those 12,000 pages, is it not? That is a bare minimal requirement. It is only charge sheet I am talking about. So with the assistance and aid of technology, he can feed all that charge sheet into the machine and he can get the synopsis of 500 to 1,000 words. See how better equipped he is, how he is going to save his time, energy, and other resources so that he can beat his opponent in the court of law. So technology, whether you like it or not, going to really redefine the way legal services are going to be rendered in the future. That is why I would rather choose a university, or rather I would choose a law school on following criteria. The first criteria I would say, okay, whether they have autonomy in developing their curriculum or they are actually, one among several hundred law schools who are affiliated to another, sort of a university. So one is I look for an autonomy. Autonomous is the best institution I would join. The second one is I try to really look at the physical infrastructure and intellectual infrastructure. When I say intellectual infrastructure, the teachers and your ability to learn others kind of lawyering skills, they would come into play. I hope you are getting my point. And the last one, I would again come back, along with your law course, if you can be taught better way, the technology also, then believe me, you are certainly going to be one among the doyens. You are certainly going to be better prepared and better equipped when it comes to your, what you call as future. That is why don't try to relaxedly do it, or don't try to give it to some kind of, let us say, luck or destiny. Well, luck and destiny, I do believe. Those theories, I do believe. But luck and destiny favors those who actually make an attempt. It's like you must have heard that, saying, somebody who got the boon from the God that he would win the lottery. But later on, he did not succeed. Then he went back to the same God and said, see, you gave me the boon that I'm going to, hit a jackpot, but I didn't. Then the God said, look, the least I would have expected from you is buying a lottery ticket. So if you have not cared to buy a lottery ticket, how the hell I can see that you hit the jackpot? So that is why don't take it very lightly. Try to do your own research. And then decide, which would be the good law school. I have given you some kind of a bare minimal points, like autonomy is one, intellectual infrastructure, physical infrastructure. It is better if it is a multidisciplinary kind of a setup so that you can, understand other disciplines and apply those skills of other disciplines into understanding of law. And finally, the most critical point is the technology. If you are satisfied that there is a particular school where technology is also going to be part of your law curriculum study, shut your eyes and join that institution. Well, before I do anything else, I would like to really remember the organizers of this particular event for giving me this opportunity to share my thought process with some of the youngsters. Instead of spending a whole lot of their energy and money on advertising Dayanand Sagar University or law school, they have decided, to organize a meaningful seminar like this. I think this is a very, very, very laudable kind of effort on their part. I congratulate them, and I also take this opportunity to wish both Dayanand Sagar University and law school, as well as all of you youngsters, a bright, future in your endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank to the panel, and you could tell us, you could give us some kind of your thoughts on this. This one question which has come basically on technology. What will be the future of law considering the technology component of artificial intelligence? Over to you, Professor Nandimat, sir.
It's a good question, I must say. Whosoever might have asked that question, Shinde-saab, I would compliment that student. See, AI is impacting our life because most of them may be science students. We say earlier the technology was at a performance level, then it got at a, what you call as predictive level. And today we have a technology which is operating at a cognitive level. That means it thinks, machines are capable of thinking like us, to a greater extent analyzing like us. So I already gave one example how AI can help us. A 1,000-page judgment. The machine can learn instead of me learning, the all 1,000 pages, and it can give me an executive summary of those 1,000 pages in just about 1,000 words. So that I get, I grasp as to what this particular judgment is all about, what exactly is the logical premise on which the judgment is, built. This is what I would say the power of AI. The second one, I must tell you, there are a lot of repetitive conveyancing job lawyers are doing. Like I take two examples. If Shindeji, I can try to, take your example and guinea pig you, I would say you wanted to write your will so that your, heirs do not fight after your demise. Or say, for example, you wanted to sell your property. At that time, naturally, we take the assistance of the lawyer, and there is a set formula on the basis of which lawyers produce those documents. No, we call it as conveyancing. This, I see in the near future, machines taking over. So there is no premium the lawyer is going to bring. The machine starts doing that work. So once the machine take over that particular work, the lawyer has to necessarily focus upon much more critical and creative sort of legal services rather than earning out of repetitive jobs. And there is one more very interesting thing that would happen. If you continue with the same example, Shinde-san. Don't think, Professor Nandimat was saying earlier that lawyer's importance is going to be still very critical, important. And now he is saying most of his job is going to be taken over by the machine. Is it not contradiction? It is not. Let me tell you, who will create that kind of a product, or who would create that kind of a AI, algorithm? It is again the lawyer, right? You can't expect only a technology man to develop something by learning law all by himself. It is a lawyer who is going to give him this kind of a creative idea. So that is why lawyers are going to be much more critical than today. That is why I don't know whether I sufficiently could able to emphasize what I was trying to say, Shinde-saab. By this question, I get second opportunity to emphasize it further. If I had one more opportunity to become a student and learn law all by again, I would choose that law school which would teach me along with law technology. Because I know by the 5-year term I complete, I would be one among the chosen few who had this unique sort of, let us say, skill sets, which my other counterparts would lack. I hope I have answered the question, Shinde-san.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, in this context, we do agree that today science and technology is an important component when students are going to look at law as a subject or law as a career. While they do that, the multidisciplinary approach from any given university which does that could be something that the students could definitely look forward to. And that's where the guidance coming in from the experts, the industry panel, and the multidisciplinary approach will make them more competitive by the time they look at getting into the job domain. So with this, we have another question. This is a student who writes, I have got less rank in my CLAT score and need a guidance. Should I drop a year or can I study in a private university?
Now, let me take this question, Shinde sir. So,
Sir,
Murthy
please.
here. Murthy
Yes.
here. Yeah, there are two opponent things which the concerned student has to evaluate. Number one year is a big time as far as the present day circumstances are concerned. Therefore, it's my recommendation would be to take admission in a good private law school if available, and go ahead and learn the things. That's point number one. Point number two, the schools and other things are not going to matter too much, provided the student is really interested in doing something big. So what I would normally say is, rather than the school and the program, the person studying that program becomes very, very important, because you need to take more interest. You can join a private school, but still get in touch with the law faculty, get in touch with the students who are studying in law school, pick up the skills that are also being taught there. And especially in the technological world of today, I don't think there's any reason for somebody to worry about the kind of information. Present day situation is that the amount of information that we have, we need to curate the information. What do you mean by curation? Take the right information which is needed for you, because that's abundant. Second, assimilate the information, put that right. Then the third one is apply that information. Therefore, curation, assimilation, and application of that information becomes very, very critical. Rather, I would recommend to go ahead and take an admission at private school. There's also one more thing the concerned student needs to consider. What is the guarantee that you get a better score in the CLAT examination next time? We don't know, a lot of things would change. Then what will happen? Therefore, it's also necessary to look into those kinds of things before deciding and doing the appearing for CLAT once again. That's what my recommendation is. I think Nandimat sir can add 1 or 2 points if I have left out any.
Sir, I cannot agree with you more at all. I try to sort of reiterate what you have said very simply. One is, yes, the candidate aspires to be part of law school.
Correct.
Because I have seen, Shindeji, if I can just give you off the hand, it is not something which I can authenticate. But we have sizable number of 10 to 12% of the students who are droppers like this. They drop 1 year and they come to national law school because their whole life's ambition is to study law, that also in a national law school or some of the reputed NLUs. But there are two things I try to really say with this particular experience of 25 years. I have never had more than 12% of the students succeeding in the second year. See, this is one. And the second one is, when people ask this question, it is one of the frequently asked questions. I say, your plan A is to join law school. There is no doubt about it. I would applaud, because there is no better place than National Law School today to study law. Okay, fine. But there are limited number of seats. So somehow you could not make it there. So what is your plan B? That means you burn the midnight oil, 1 year you completely burn it, and only for the purpose of preparing. After preparation, if you don't make it, then you have to necessarily go to some other law school, is it not? That is why you join another law school and start working. If you make it to law school, that is fantastic. Your goal is achieved. But if it doesn't happen, no much of remorse, you continue with the same law school, thereby you would be, saving 1 year of your precious time. This is what Dr. Murthy was saying, and I 100% endorse what he said.
Wonderful, sir. Great. Then there's another question from a student who has completed his 12th science and not interested in looking at science in the future studies or in the higher studies. He writes, what is the best route that would be beneficial in case if I look at a career in law? Would a BA LLB more suitable, or will a BBA LLB be more suitable?
Okay, I think I should be taking this. See, we offer only BA LLB at National Law School. We don't have BBA LLB. Why I'm saying this is because somehow if you ask me that question, I sort of tilt towards BA LLB because of my, legacy.
Okay.
But I say the whole idea of BA LLB, BBA LLB, or BTech LLB and things like that, Shinde Saab, we call it as integrated law program. Because by looking at law, what is law? I would say law is an instrumentality or instrument which regulates human behavior. That's all. See, law per se has no value. When you apply law to regulate some part of human behavior, it produces, what you call as positive results to the society. Is it not, Shinde?
Absolutely.
So that is why, along with the law, the whole concept is let the student study another discipline or several other disciplines. Like in BA LLB, you study sociology, you study history, you study, political science, so on and so forth. In business studies, you study various business studies. In technology and law, you study technological subjects, etc. But ultimately, your focus is to better understand law and try to make this what you have studied and integrate it into law. That is why it doesn't matter. You go by your flair. It is like, whether you should choose a chocolate cake or you should, choose a pineapple cake. It depends upon your taste buds. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. This is one thing I would say. But I can't resist myself taking one more minute of your time, Shinde Saab, and tell that student, according to the new draft curriculum, which BCI has prepared, I'm part of that particular committee. That's why I'm telling you, which is going to be put into effect any time in this year. Before next year itself, it is going to be implemented. At that point in time, the liberty would be given to the universities to make any subject they want, and autonomy would be given to the student. That means you can take 2 subjects from art stream, you can take another 2 subjects from business stream, and another 2 subjects from, let us say, technology stream. We are not going to strict jacket them as BA LLB, BCom LLB, etc. That is going to be the things which would have, the things which are going to unveil and come. That is why I would counsel my young friend, don't bother too much about BA LLB, BCom LLB, etc. You choose whatever appeals to you as of now, because you have already made a choice that you are going to be a lawyer.
Wonderful. Pallavi, I think you have received some questions by email. Would you like to pull up those questions? Pallavi?
So 1 minute.
Yes. In the meantime, Pallavi, I'll just put across this question which has come in the chat. I would like to know if an engineer with more than 10 years of experience who is working on contract management, if he's interested in getting law degree, will there be any limitations as age factor or maybe education background, or is there any provision that he can go ahead and pursue it?
Again, I have to take this question, Shinde Saab.
Yes, sir.
Look, earlier we had, actually, when this whole BALLB honors course were started, that is integrated course were started, we did try to have upper age limit, saying that, 22 years, and in case of SC and ST, 24 years, etc. But in recent times, the Supreme Court has struck it down, saying that, look here, there is no, logic or rhyme behind that. If any person is interested in learning the law, you should be allowing him. You test him, whether he is competent, let him compete. And if he is found to be okay, you have to teach him. Why unnecessarily restrict his age?
Okay.
That is why now that age restriction has gone. I think the major part of his question I have answered by this.
Yeah,
But I think by one more thing, what he is trying to find out is if he is an engineer who has put in nearly 10 years of service, is it a good thing if he wants to do law? I would say 3-year law program is ideally suited to him. If he can afford to take a break,
Okay.
Because today there is nothing called as a part-time. Because law, Bar Council doesn't allow any part-time law degrees. And he can become a better contract manager, and he can better, develop his skills in ADR, and he can become an arbitrator.
Okay.
So this is becoming one of the best legal careers where you have dominance of engineers, you have dominance of valuers, you have dominance of chartered accountants. So this is a great, sort of a career path if he is thinking of branching out into law. Sorry, sir, I cut you short, Murthy, sir. You can add.
Yes, sir, perfect. I just wanted to say that because the concerned person has a BTech degree, all the bachelor's degree, LLB would be the right option. That's point number one. Point number two, as Nandimat sir rightly pointed out, a person with engineering background can have a law degree, thereby in his profession. For example, if it's a computer science engineer, possibly he would get the expertise to handle the computer-related legal problems quite well. Right now, what's happening is we have two sets of people, one set of people in one domain, the other set of people in the other domain, where making each one to understand each other's points is becoming difficult as of now. Possible in the future, if a person has the background of both, that would be the right kind of thing that's going to happen. I'm sure the person concerned would stand to benefit from a law degree along with engineering, which he can handle the legal components quite well, quite confidently. That's what I would recommend.
Got it. Thank you so much, sir. Pallavi, over to you. You had some questions which were sent by the email to you.
Yes, sir. So there is one student who have asked that these days, wherever they go, mainly they talk about the global exposure, international collaborations, and getting a foreign language is also like many of the colleges are offering. So he just wanted to understand, like, how is it benefited to the law students? Is it too much important to go for these things?
You want me to answer again? I should not be taken as dominating the whole.
No. Please go ahead, sir. Please go ahead.
Because see, I touched upon this. Probably, it is my bad. I did not elaborate that. I said one of the essential tools of lawyer or toolkit of the lawyer is what is called as gift of gab. That is, I said a tongue, or that is a language. I did not say language means only English. It can be even, because on one hand, you just imagine, it is a common sense, Pallavi. On one hand, you are interacting with the court, you are interacting with the lawyer, judge, and trying to convince him so that you get the relief what your client wants. That is one level of communication. And before that communication, you have to interact and understand what kind of a problem your client is suffering from, is it not? That is where the local language becomes very important. And in a globalized world, your clients are going to speak many languages rather than Hindi, Kannada, Tamil, etc. So if I have a Chinese client, I have a better advantage, I have a greater advantage if I can understand Chinese and speak Chinese, Mandarin. So if I have a French, let us say, what you call as a client, I would better able to communicate it to him, understand his problems, and present it very effectively to the court of law. So today it is definitely not English and your local language. One, foreign language, according to me, for a budding lawyer is absolutely essential. And let me tell you, my, so-called technical student Shantu is well trained in Russian. And because of that, I'm sure he must be finding great amount of advantages. Today, some of the really hep lawyers are taken to international languages.
Got it.
Thank you, sir.
Probably next one. But I would also request Mr. Sajivan, if you have any specific questions that you must have come across from students from Andaman and Nicobar, you could also tell us. You could also put that questions to us, Mr. Sajivan.
Thank you, Mr. Shinde. I must thank Professor Nandimat for the enlightenment. I just have one small query. Sir, what is the upward mobility after one chooses law as a career, like after completing his law graduation? What is the
There is some noise, I think some lag in terms of some network issue from your end, Mr. Sajivan.
Sir, should I repeat it once again?
Yeah, please. Or you could just type the question also. I can help it to take it up. Or if you can just let us know, it will be nice.
Sir,
Sir was talking about upward mobility as well as after law.
Correct, sir. Correct.
Okay.
See, sir, I'll tell you, the very simple way I can answer is, earlier law was considered to be preparing a lawyer who is going to confine himself for rest of his life in the four walls of the court. That means it was court centric. This is how it was seen. But today, when you are really looking at law, it is not that much court centric. Take the example of another industry representative what we have, Mr. Shantu. He started his career as a lawyer, then went as an in-house counsel of one of the leading infrastructure companies in Karnataka, or for that matter, South India. Then again, he came back to what you call as hardcore practice. This clearly tells you the kind of bandwidth with which you play. If you take my own example, 94, I completed my first degree in law. During that time, only 3-year course was there, 5-year course was not there. I completed 1994 my law degree. I started practicing. For 2 years, I practiced along with my LLM. And then somehow I realized it is not my cup of tea. So I got into academics. Now I am into academics, consultancy and things like that. You're getting my point. So I can.
Correct.
If I don't want, let us say now I decide, oh my God, enough. I have taught for 26 years. How long I will continue like this? I wanted to now practice. I can very well renounce this and go to practice. I hope you are getting my point. See, this is the kind of liberty probably you would get anywhere. And I'm not touching upon those issues like you can become a judge, you can become a public prosecutor. There are empty number of opportunities you have in addition to becoming a lawyer. So that's why I would only end answering, I would only conclude. Long and short part of the answer to your question, Sajivan, is you are as competent as any other professional, if not more, is my answer.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Anything more?
So one more question. I think this is important also. Many of the law aspirants, when they study, they have in the back of their mind that they wanted to go for the CA program. But they don't have an understanding what CA is exactly. But because we say that it is very demanding, so most of the law aspirants wanted to go for CA. So can you just give us an understanding?
Law aspirants wanted to go for CA program.
Sorry, not CS or CS, Company Secretariat.
CS program. Okay, Company Secretary program, you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so along with the law program, or they would want to take that as a special, how is it?
They wanted to study CS as well.
See,
CS.
when you are talking of profession, maybe I would take 1 minute if I'm allowed, because I know we have already exceeded our time, Shinde Saab.
No.
Because these are a bunch of youngsters, very enthusiastic bunch of youngsters, that also from a place like Andaman and Nicobar. I think engaging little more time with them is probably life-changing experience for them. See, when you are taking many professions, there are 3 or 4 very important professions which I needed to mention. One is company secretary or CS. The second one is chartered accountancy, what we call as CA. Third one is ICWA or management accounting professionals. And the fourth one is what is called as IBC, insolvency and bankruptcy, professionals. IBC is the latest profession that has got the professional status in India. These are the 4 professions for which you do not have any colleges like law. It is like after 10+2, what you require to write is what I am saying, foundation course. And once you are clearing that foundation course, you will start, pursuing that course, and you acquire necessary what you call as skills, write the exam, which is conducted by the professional regulatory body, and you pass. You don't have to go to any school. But what people do, because there is no college specifically required to be attended to, they try to pursue these courses along with other courses. Like I may be doing BCom and along with that I am doing CA. I am doing BSc and along with that I am doing management accountancy. So you can virtually mix it with anything. There are good number of lawyers. There are good number of law students today. They try to do, choose these career options also and want to become dual professionals. You're getting my point. This is what, according to me, answers their first question.
Right.
But the second question today, whether it is good or bad, I do not know. But in India, all professional regulatory bodies would ask you to be a dedicated professional. In the sense, let us say, along with law, I have completed my chartered accountancy or CS. At that time, if I wanted to take license to practice law, they would say, you have to now say you will not practice chartered accountancy. Either you become a chartered accountant or you become a lawyer. You cannot really practice, dual practice is not allowed in India. But let me once again repeat, if you ask me, this is probably this stand is going to be reviewed later. But right now, this is the, sort of a, system what we have in India.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you so much for this. Anything else? Are we through with the questions?
That's all.
Wonderful. So let me quickly go back to the students. So students, as we heard the expert panel, and if you have any further questions, please write to us. The email ID has been shared with you along with the link that we shared with you for joining this webinar today. Some more further inputs to students. Yes, there's been a lot of inquiries coming to us in terms of what could be the examinations, what could be the entrance test. Is there anything kind of scholarships being made available? And here the answer is yes. At Dayanand Sagar University School of Law, we also look forward to your CLAT scores. We respect the CLAT scores. There is a criteria for the CLAT scores. There is a criteria for a LSAT scores. If you have the scores, you may please look at to our website, and we have the criteria for the scholarships being announced on that. We do look at your score, and there is a scholarship. There's a decent scholarship being made available to students, which is in the excess of rupees 5 lakhs for your 5 years program. You could look into this by logging to our website, and you will get all the details. In case if you have not taken the CLAT entrance exam, or if you have not taken the LSAT entrance examinations, you could write to us, and we have an examination on the DSLAT, the Dayanand Sagar Scholarship for the law admission test. And you could write this test with us. And in case if you qualify with the minimum score that is required, then you will also be awarded with the scholarship, and you could take the benefit of the scholarship and look at the admissions with us. We are based out of Bangalore. We have this campus on Hosur Road. It's quite close to all the best companies that are available today in South Bangalore. We have a very good connect. It's available in terms of industry practices, in terms of senior academicians coming in from reputed institutions, and maybe from the law firms who are a part and parcel of this program. And being a multidisciplinary, which we respect the multidisciplinary approach, you could look at these programs with Dayanand Sagar University. This is the website, dsu.edu.in. In case you require more details, you could speak to a career advisor or a career guidance expert at 080-4646-1800. And we will be happy to solve all your queries related to this. Mr. Sajivan, if there are no more questions, should we declare this webinar over?
Sir, one small thing, sir.
Please.
Sir, I have a question from one of my students. Sir,
Yes.
Is there any provision to provide assist the student for obtaining a bank loan for education loan for their studies?
Absolutely.
do you have
Absolutely. We have good amount of banks, all the nationalized banks available, and there are NBFC approved, banks available. There are, we have these finance agencies who are there, who come as an approved activity on behalf of the government, and they are the NBFC approved agencies who offer it at an interest rate of 0.5% for every EMI that you take. So in case if you require any assistance from the bank, please get in touch with us. We will have the details shared across with you, which we call it as an expenditure letter. And we will share all the contacts in that from the various banks with whom we have a tie-up. You could take it up as per your choice, and all of these banks will make sure if it is through the NBFC approved list that we share with you, within 48 hours, after you submit all the documents, within 48 hours, you will come to know in terms of the approvals, and everything is going to be through a digital process. You don't even have to visit the banks. Everything will be taken through the entire digital process from you. And within 2 days, you will get the answer from the banks.
Great. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So thank you so much to all the students from Andaman and Nicobar, especially, who have joined on this session today. And of course, some of the faculty fraternity from Andaman and Nicobar, from the CBSE schools. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our distinguished speakers for today. I'd like to thank Professor K.N. Vimurthy, sir, the Honorable Vice Chancellor. I'd like to thank Mr. Shantu Matapati, who from his busy schedule has been able to take out some time and be a part of this session to share his views. And of course, I'd like to give a big thank you to Professor Nandimat, sir. He's been a mentor to us, and his guidance comes with a lot of experience to all of us. So with this, yes, sir.
One 30 seconds, if you permit me.
Please, sir. It's all yours.
Mr. Sanjeevanji, it is not the end of our kind of a relationship. If you have any questions, if some students can be helped, not only with regard to DSU, but any other, do not hesitate to, write to me, send an email, etc.
So kind of you, sir. So kind of you.
Because you people are doing extremely well in, motivating the students. That very noble thought that they should be led successful career path itself has touched me. You can always ping me, write to me, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. So with this, we come to the end of today's open house session on the topic Ask Anything on Law Before Choosing a Law School. And we will be happy to address you in case if you happen to come to Bangalore. We all are aware of the advantages of being in Bangalore. So if you anytime come to Bangalore, do visit us, do come in for a face-to-face session, and we will be happy to look at resolving all the queries that you have in mind. And we'll be very happy in case if you look at Dayanand Sagar University as your partner for the next 3 years or 5 years for your career in law. We will be happy to welcome you. And with this, I'd like to take leave from all of you. Thank you so much for your time.